there, good afternoon. Welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt. As you can see, I am joined by my right-hand man, my bearded brother. It is Paddy Boy. Just a wee quick one, a wee pop-up, because obviously we've got a big important game this afternoon. And Paddy, it's another opportunity. Of course, we look towards the last game that we played at Ibrox, and I think now when we look back on that we probably should have bodied them. And it's a bit of it's a bit of an annoyance. It feels like a misstep that we didn't do that. But of course, they have done that job for ourselves. And it's now up to ourselves as we look towards playing Killie at 3 o'clock to get the job done that we probably should have done before the international break, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, we find ourselves in a strange position, Steve. We're sitting second in the league. It's not very nice. I don't like it. So I want a good performance today. I want a proper Celtic performance. Obviously, everyone will be aware that the fans are going to enter a little later. We're in the 12th minute for the 12th man. And I want to see the players and the fans get right behind this cause and actually get on with it. You spoke about the game against the Baddies. Do you know what? We should have buried them. We really should have. That for me was one of the ones. That's why we come out of that so disappointed, that it was just, I don't know, it was lacklustre. There was nothing real passion there. There was nothing that came out of it. And then you watched that yesterday and it was laughable, mate. They are in such a shit state that oh man, we should have put them to bed. We really should have.
Absolutely. And that's it. We'll talk about that. We'll talk a wee bit about that because, listen, we've still got to keep our powder dry. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There is a game. There's a backdrop of sort of discontent and, who knows what that's going to bring, but certainly it's a wee shot in the arm. But, of course, look, if we were sitting here and it was the shoe was in the other foot, I'm sure we'd be getting a wee laugh at it. So we'll have a wee moment about that. We'll actually talk about that, and we'll talk about Hearts because I think, we all laughed at Tony Bloom. I saw him and he looked like a wee sort of, I'm a real boy, sort of Pinocchio style. Oh, we're going to win the league in 10 years. Oh, that's weird though, that's right. But maybe they are going to be a genuine contender. Maybe not necessarily throughout the course of the season, but they certainly look like the real deal, and we'll look at what that guy's done at Brighton. So, yeah, we'll talk a wee bit about them as well. But get your thoughts in. If you're joining us on YouTube, X, wherever you are, stick in your comments if you have any thoughts on, rivals in the league. If you have any thoughts on the game today, what do you think is the lineup going to be? What do you think the score's going to be? Do you think of Brendan Rodgers' comments? Of course, we'll talk about that as well. Paddy, the press conference. Just welcome back to everybody. These are all starting to come in. We're kicking up to about 50 now. We know we jumped on. We didn't give you any warning, but sometimes that's the way it happens. But as always, like the channel, subscribe if you haven't already. Costs you nothing. All the content's free and it helps grow the community. Thanks to everybody that has been doing that so far. On X, as I say, we're currently live in there now as well at CW Pod 1888. Get us in TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. You know everything by now. But Paddy, let's get in about it. Let's get straight down to business. And obviously, we'll talk just a wee bit about the manager and the press conference. I don't want to go over too much old ground, but I thought that the press conference, well, firstly, Celtic took long enough to actually release the manager's wanted to know, but it was quite good to see. And I feel coming out the back of that the mindset of the manager, at least, we heard what Cal McGregor had to say as well. The mindset of the manager, the mindset of the captain is very much on unifying, galvanising, getting everybody singing for the same hymn sheet, pushing on, and as we said, making the best of what is a bad situation behind the scenes, because in terms of football, as you said, Paddy, worst places we could be. But what did you think of both Callum and the manager's sort of message to the fans? As usual, they were the face of Celtic. They were getting asked questions that they quite frankly cannot answer. And they were very clear on, they're no ours to answer. Here's what we're going to do. But the way they spoke about what they were going to do, make you feel a wee bit better.
Aye, well, listen, like you say, Steve, they've been thrown under the bus. See if a board member was on that interview, on that, and came out and went, right, listen, we're here to talk about this. We're here. We know there's a lot of fan unrest. Give us your questions. Let's go for it. You'd have a bit of respect for them. Do you know what I mean? But they throw Callum and they throw Brendan out there, the big guns, so to speak. And listen, Brendan's told it like it is. He really has. He's went out there and you kind of laughed and joked there about them not releasing Brendan's interview until a little bit later on. They were probably going over that.
Was it around 9 o'clock or something? Was that quite late?
It was ridiculous, mate. Obviously, we're in a few chats with people who were actually at the press conference as well, so we had a heads up on some of the things that were said. And we're kind of sitting there going, right, are they going to release this? Is this going to come out? Are they going over it and going to try and edit everything bad that Brendan said here out of it? But I think by the time they kind of got to it, obviously Sky Sports had released their part of it and a few other media outlets had released certain parts. So I think they basically had to put out the full thing.
Yeah.
And listen, you seen the disappointment in Brendan. You really did. But I mean, he's got to concentrate on the game, as have the players. And Callum puts that message across really, really well. And we kind of laugh about this as well. And we've said so many times that Callum in interviews now looks like he's about to greet. It looks like
he looked drained, didn't he? He looked a wee bit shell shock. I mean, the message was good, Paddy, but we discussed that, didn't we? Like, I don't know if he just looks drained or shocked or whatever, but he was saying all the right things. But both him and Brendan, they both looked a wee bit scunnered, didn't they? And rightfully so.
Listen, you would be. If you're getting asked the same questions over and over again, you are going to be scunnered with them. And these guys like Brendan and Callum, you don't want to throw your employer under the bus as much as they deserve it. Brendan can't turn around and go, do you know what, guys? Michael Nicholson's this, Michael Nicholson's that. Yeah, Peter Lawwell's this, Peter Lawwell's that. They can't do it.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. Say he's a nice guy. I'm a nice guy, but it doesn't mean I'm going to.
Wheels on that.
Exactly, that's it. He's there at Christmas.
Fair play. Size, know what I mean?
Hey, wait a minute, take your ties off of him. I can
Remember,
see that.
2 ties per person. That was 3. Get out of that, 3.
That's it. They're policing it. You get that. Listen, it's all fine and well, Brendan coming out and saying they were nice guys and whatever else, but obviously there was one person who he didn't mention as a nice guy, and he was talking about cowardness and things like that. Yes. If you haven't seen the interview, please go watch it. And tell us who you think the coward is at Celtic Park, and let us know what you think should happen to him.
How many guesses do you want at that game? I mean, it's not a guess who one, is it? I mean, it's not going to be that many. Yeah, a single guess who, and it's just a big picture of Peter Law, just one flap, both.
Right, there you go. Aye.
Is he an arsehole? Aye, yes, aye. That's Peter Law.
Listen, like we say, Steve, Callum and Brendan, they're saying the right things. They're saying the things for the fans. They want us to be there and show our support and stuff as well. And yes, we will show our support, but again, after the 12th minute, it's not saying that, listen, we're going to be outside that stadium. We're going to be sitting there watching a game on our phones. Do you know what I mean? We're not turning our backs on Celtic per se. We're turning our backs on the board. And I put a comment on Facebook. It was about entering at the 12th minute and what it meant as a fan base to do this. There was a lot of happy clappers in there. There was a lot of people. And listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. If you're one of those people, please let us know as well what your thoughts are on the Celtic fans entering the 12th minute. But I think we have to do something. And I think that this is a start. You don't turn the telly on after 12 minutes here. You can turn it on at the start, mate. We can watch it. We're just we're not allowed to cheer or show any. Nah, listen, it's something against the board. This is us making a statement to the board that football without fans is nothing, and we're going to show them that for 12 minutes simply because we're the 12th man at Celtic, and that for me is a good way of doing things. It's a great start, and we'll see how this goes. If Celtic score in the first 12 minutes, they'll all be gutted. Do you know what I mean? Everybody outside that stadium will be raging if you go in there and it's 1-0, 2-0.
That is what it is. It's some things that have got to be done. And as we say, people have different takes on it. We've seen it on our comments section. We've seen it in social media. We've seen it, on other platforms. And as we said before, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, it's about respecting different opinions and viewpoints on it. Just be respectful. You'll be at the game if you're maybe watching us, I don't know, before or listening, whatever, ahead of time. I'm pretty sure that the message is if people are standing, folk choose to go in, respect them. It is what it is, and try to be. See, as long as the vast majority, the largest section of people are unified, and that's it, it gets the message over.
Yeah.
If we score within the first 12 minutes, so be it. But see, whenever those fans do come in, I think that the noise will be amplified to levels that it would probably be far higher than it would be if they were there for the start. Let's be honest here. And the kick on and the reaction that that's going to give to the players, to the management, to everybody, to the Killie players as well, who've been maybe 12 minutes getting out their own way, that's going to be massive. But it's one of many things. But let's talk briefly, Paddy, as we say, then, the manager. We heard about Cal McGregor. Very standard fare, as you would imagine, in terms of conveying the message. This is the cards that we've been dealt. It's up to us. It's up to me as a captain, says Cal McGregor, to G up the team, to get everybody focused, for me to drive the football inside. And both of them, without being too over the top, and as you say, they don't want to, rightly or wrongly, upset their employers. They understood. They know why the fans are feeling this way, and they feel that we're perfectly within their rights. And, how could you disagree with that? But Brendan Rodgers says, name checks many people. And the big one, the big smoking gun, if you want to call it that, was that he doesn't mention Peter Wall. And he says that he's got a great relationship with the other board members, name checks them, as we said. And he says that they are very good guys, but, and this was the bit I did like, because I felt that was belying some of the points he was making. He then goes on and says, but they need to be more than that. They need to be more than just good guys. They need to be, everything needs to be aligned. The football inside, the vision, the ambition. But again, Paddy, and he said this, now it was different between the one that we saw Celtic TV, which was the large press conference. I felt you get more out of the Sky sit down, the 9-minute one that they put out that was at the training ground, where the way that PR trend goes, they pretty much have a script and they say the same stuff, right? But the way that one was shaped, it was a lot more, I want to be here. That message of, I want to stay at Celtic. I came back with a vision of being here for 3 years, but I really wanted to stay beyond the 3. I said to do my minimum 3, but I want to stay on. That was my idea. That's still my plan, but on the terms of if these things get lined up. And I thought, to me, after everything that's been said, that seemed quite surprising. Not to call him a liar, just for balance. Do you believe it, Paddy, or is Brendan doing what any person in his position would do, which is basically saying, remember, I'm the good guy, these are the bad guys, so that whatever happens, Brendan looks good at the end of it?
No, I genuinely believe it. I think after the Kyrat game, Steve, everybody was sitting here and they're going, if Brendan walks on tomorrow morning or Monday morning, then we'll all fully support him. We'll all do this, we'll all do that. And I think he gained a respect from that, from coming out in that interview and saying, listen, I have asked for these players. I have asked to strengthen certain positions. He was transparent as much as he could be. And I feel like he says, he came back here. He wasn't going to come back and just be a yes man again. I think when he got appointed, he was promised certain things. Now, I don't know if he's been given them. If he has, then he should have asked for more, in my opinion. But I think if anything's going forward, if the board want to look at him to bring in to take this team forward, then they have to invest. They have to be saying, right, Brendan, this is what you're going to get. And I think he's pushing for that. Like, he speaks about the lack of ambition of certain people. Now, Brendan, for me, mate, is, like I've said on here before, I think he's a world-class manager. He's up there. He's one of the elite. He's a manager, for me, that we are lucky to have.
Paddy, those are terms that people will be upset about with you.
That's fine. Let them be.
Top class, world class.
Let them be. Listen, you ask Liverpool fans about him and stuff as well, and they say he couldn't make a signing and blah, blah. And yeah, you can look at some of the signings that have been made that have been Brendan signings, your Arne Engels, your Austin Trustees, your Adam Edas, things like that. Yes, it hasn't all worked out perfectly, but I still feel going forward, he is the man for us. And I would love it if he signed another contract and we got rid of some of these board members and actually gave him money to invest, gave him a shot at actually doing something and taking this club forward. Because let's face it, last year in the Champions League, mate, getting through to that stage and almost taking Bayern Munich to extra time was incredible.
Yeah. See, just gloss over ever so briefly the Brendan stuff. We know he's talking about, let's be honest here, we know that he's talking about Peter Wall. Now, the one thing I did like as well, it was very on the nose. He was asked in enough words, should this person be found out, investigated, discovered and sacked? And that's his answer, yes. He said it was a cowardly act. Said that and it was interesting because he'd been briefed on that previously. what's he talking
Yeah.
about there? We're talking about some of the stuff that we've seen in his first tenure. Now, the one thing is, if he is as friendly with Dermot Desmond, now, listen, we're still 100% behind the fan action. We want change. We want wholesale change. We want to see Nicholson. We want to see Mackay. We want to see all these fools getting bulleted, jettisoned, gone. Full wholesale change at the board level. I think when we're being honest, the realistic is whether we like it or not, could we at some point potentially get Dermot Desmond away? Maybe, right? But I've kind of made my peace. I would still rather he wasn't there, but I'm quite realistic to the fact that he's not going, right? He's not going. He said a million times over, he's no selling up. His boy, who I spoke about last week, says, when did you ever hear from him? He mysteriously came out and says, my dad's not doing it at all. So, there you go. That in recency, since we spoke about that, you hear from his boy, nah, dad's not doing it, right? But it then begs the question of who's holding back Celtic at Boardroom. We're all directly going to Dermot Desmond. I think he does, of course, have power that he should not have. But is it sometimes maybe just as simple as, and I wouldn't know why, but is it Peter Law? Now, could getting Peter Law out the door give the change that we need? I personally think that we need at least 3-4 gone. But if he's got as good a relationship with Dermot Desmond as he so claims, why are these guys not? Why is Dermot not doing what needs to be done? I know that guys like, the board are his pals, but should they not just give us what we want and get rid of them? Because if the manager's keen to stay, and importantly as it says there, apparently there's been no contact. And he confirmed that again and says, I am here for if and when that might occur, but there's been no conversation. But I will entertain it and I will definitely consider it, assuming or hoping that everything's aligned. That the pieces are there and the guarantees are there and the alignment's there. I'll sign a new contract.
Yeah.
Is it happening? Will it happen?
We live in hope, Steve-O, let's face it. We've seen before that when Peter Lawwell wasn't there was a difference in the transfer window, wasn't there? That was Ange's first season. And whether that was just the promises that Ange got and whatever else when he took on the job, you don't know. But we went out and I remember seeing a tweet for one of the Rangers podcasts, I think it was, and it was about Celtic signing players before the actual window had opened. And it was because due to the Japanese market, I think had already opened and we had signed Kyogo, Ideguchi and Reo Hatate. Pretty much 3 signings in the door before the window had even officially opened in the UK. These guys were already there. Now, you bring that forward a couple of years and you look at us now, scrambling on the last day, putting all our hopes on a guy called Dolberg, and we're going, right, yeah, he's definitely coming. Oh, no, he's away. Right, oh, wait a minute, we'll get Fofana. Aye, oh, right, wait a minute, he's away. Henrik, fancy putting your boots back on, mate. Do you know what I mean? That's the way it was, mate, and it's ridiculous. And that happened when Peter Lawwell was out the picture, but the other ones still remained. Is Peter Lawwell the main problem here? It looks like it. You get him out the door, then get somebody in who actually knows about football, a footballing director, somebody who's going to come in here and actually say, right, this is what we need going forward. This is the setup I want. Take away the kind of jobs for the boys thing. Like I'm all good for people coming in and doing a job at Celtic, but there's a lot of people there who are, in my opinion, stealing a wage. Do you know what I mean? So you want to bring in somebody who's got the footballing head on and it's going to push for transfers and somebody that's got the ambition to go forward as well.
Aye, no, that is the thing. I think we'll move on for the press conference, but obviously it was a big thing. It was a big point, and since we've been on to bring it up, I definitely like the cut of the jib, the manager. I like the honesty. As I said, I wasn't too mad about the whole other good guys and bringing it round. But then he splits it and he says, but you need to be more than a good guy. I need you to be football minded. I need you to be ambitious. I need you to align. It's fine being a brilliant guy, but you need to be good at your job. So I did like that he sort of gave that wee sort of undertone. He's sending a message. But yes, it'll be interesting. He's called it out. He's in enough terms when I expect this person to be identified and, relieved of their duties. With everything that we're doing as fan groups and fan supporters and things like that, that's going to ramp up pressure. Will it be seen as being an easy out for them? Well, quite possibly. I mean, let's face it, even though we want and deserve wholesale change in the board, if you remove Peter Wall, see if he is the first to go, they will be hoping and praying, look, that's the one that they really don't like. So
Yeah.
that's going to buy us some time, but it's not going away. This
Aye.
isn't going away. It's not going away. Peter Wall, that will buy you a wee bit of credit in the bank, but there needs to be more there. Needs to be more.
I think Tisdale's easy target there. I think because he's came in and he's not necessarily one of the clan, basically, Steve. He's not one of the old St. Augustine's crew, is he? He's
St. Aloysius, are they not?
St. Aloysius, sorry,
isn't it?
yeah.
Aye.
St.
Yes.
Augustine's Coatbridge,
No,
isn't it?
I think he will be gone, but we'll keep an eye on it. But back to the footballing side now. Obviously, we'll talk a wee bit about how we think the lineup's going to pan out. But as we say, it would be remiss, wouldn't it? Because, I mean, we're complaining about a lot worse things that we could be complaining about. Now, I'm not saying that makes the situation we are in right. No, it doesn't. But, I mean, come on, Paddy. Like 5 games played. Did you see this happening? Honestly, did you see this happening? Is there a new Ranger in town? A Maroon Ranger?
Listen, we had this last year, Steve. You remember Aberdeen? Remember how they were the resurgent under your man Jimmy Tilleen? It was all going to be different, and he was pushing on, and they were going to split the big two. They were going to split the Glasgow teams, and they were going to do this and do that. Yeah, how did that work out for them? It didn't, and I can see that with Hearts. You see, this guy's came out and listen. As much as you can laugh about him and joke about him when he goes up there and he sits in front of the Hearts supporters and says, "Listen, this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do." Blah 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 blah. He's doing it. Do you know what I mean? He's been transparent. He's given them. He's talking to them. When was the last time one of your board members actually sat in front of a camera and said, "This is what we're going to do for Celtic. This is our ambition," and we're not getting that. So yes, we might not be in the finest state that we've ever been in, but we win today. We go back to the joint top. It could be worse. You could be sitting 10th in the league.
You know, that's a good point. Gigi's making says, you know, we can laugh and we'll all enjoy our moment. First and foremost, keep the powder remotely kind of dry, wee bit dry. We'll still laugh, but yes, we need to get the job done today, right? If we get the job done today, party on. But I guarantee you, by the way, and I really want to know about. I'm really interested to see how many, if any, of the board turn up today at Killie, right? Because
I can't see any of them.
Make no bones about it. See that result yesterday. See the protests outside the Ibrox. See them shouting at players in the car park and everything else. And let's be honest, we're probably all OD'd on Rangers content and laughing last night, right? You were probably revived about 10 times for all the TikToks and memes and videos and stuff that you sent, right? It is fact. They will have went like, oh, this is brilliant. Look at this. You know, because as... And we always say, that's the important thing. We've got to focus on ourselves. Our board have got to focus on ourselves. They'll have been sitting there and probably like us because even though they're terrible at it, they still will be Celtic supporters, just really badly at doing what they need to do as Celtic supporters. And they will have been going, this is brilliant. This takes the eyes off us for a bit. Focal, we win them all. We're 9 points ahead. We're top of the league. Maybe probably will be on goal difference. Top of the league. Oh, we can start forgetting about them. They'll forget about what's happening here because we're so far ahead. That's when we can't let them get away with it, Paddy, because let's be honest, success and the failings of the opposition have allowed them to cruise for too many years.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And Maestro said it there. They'll be thinking that it's going to take the heat off them. I doubt they'll be there today. A lot of people saying that in the chat as well. You'll see how cowardly they are. Yes. If they turn up, it shows arrogance as well. Do you know what I mean? So you could look at it for both feet. If they turn up, they'll be getting a torrent of abuse. You spoke about the Rangers fans yesterday shouting at their players and stuff in the car park. It wasn't the only thing that was going on in their car park, may I add. That's the end of that. But yeah, listen, if the board turn up there today, they will be getting an absolute torrent of abuse. So hell mend them if they do, but I
Without
doubt they
sounding
would.
dramatic here, Paddy, because obviously we don't want to see, we've said a million times over, do everything by the books, above board. Don't give them any ammunition. Don't let
Yes.
it get unsavoury. Don't let it go into criminality. Don't let it go anything that's going to look bad on the support base. Would it be, dare I say it, an unsafe environment for them to go to the day?
Probably not. There's a lot of people people who are disappointed and disappointed. It's such a it seems like a kind of pussy word for it, doesn't it? Saying that I'm disappointed in that. There's a lot of people furious, mate. I've spoken to fans before, and oh, we should do this, we should do that, and blah blah. And there's a lot of angry people out there, and you can't speak for all of the fan base. I think 90% of our fan base would be relatively well behaved and voice their opinions, but there are that other aspect of them that would go the extra mile. Obviously, after a few shandies or whatever, would potentially make an arse of it.
Yeah, we get a part two of Lol getting shouted at. Remember, God, Camden, remember that?
Aye. Yeah.
I think, Leanne's saying, why wouldn't they be there? Well, that is the question. Why wouldn't they be? I think that if they don't turn up, then it just plays into our hands as fans to say that's the kind of people you are. You can't face the music, but then at the same time, they might not. So it will be interesting to see that.
If you're them, they can't win. If they turn up, they're showing arrogance. What they arrogant? Because they've turned up here today. They don't care. If they don't turn up, they're cowards. Do you know what I mean? It's a catch-22 for them. I think they should be there. I think our fan base should.
And I agree with that. There should never be a question of their safety not there.
100%.
I was just asking that as a genuine question, because we've seen how unfortunately things can boil over, and obviously when it's not a Celtic Park, the measures in place might not be as sort of stringent. That's why I asked the questions, because obviously I don't want and never would endorse any of that kind of action. We need to keep it. That's the important thing. See what we're doing here. We do everything properly. We do it all above board. We'll do it legally. We keep ourselves and our noses clean.
Yeah.
And it gives no ammunition. It gives no ammunition to the media, who are loving this, by the way. They are loving painting this backdrop, so much so that they're interviewing Kilmarnock players on the pitch, and they're asking them about, it's a great time to be playing Celtic, isn't it? Because, they're falling apart behind the scenes. You don't want to give any ammunition to anybody to try and paint us in a bad light. And equally, you don't want to give them, who show a lot of contempt for the fans as it is, to think any lesser of you than they already do.
Exactly. Listen, you look at our performances. Yes, we haven't been our blistering self, but we're still there. We're still sitting. Win today, top of the league. We're still sitting in a good position. We're still in the Europa League. We've invested a little bit. We've brought in guys like Balakwisha. We've brought in Sarachi and stuff like that as well. And I wanted to say Chukwameni there. What's the other boy's name?
What's that? Janetki.
Janetki. I keep going to say Chukwameni, the boy that plays for Real Madrid. It's not him. Janetki.
I wish it was. That would be good, wouldn't it?
It'd be all right. It'd be decent. Listen, it's good to have them in there, these new guys. And I'd like to see a decent start for them today as well, because I think we'll see a different lineup to what we're used to.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's jump in a bit the game then, Paddy, because we've got a job to do. We know that. We know exactly what's at stake. Go top of the league. Be joined, of course, with Hearts, who are sitting up there. Although, based on a win, we'll go top. Goal difference, we're even pegging goal difference. I'll put you there for what that is worth. Rangers languishing down in 10th. There's a lot of chat before we came on. I've seen mixed reports that the set of curtains is going to be getting backed. I've also seen that there's meant to be an emergency meeting down at their training ground, and that all sources point to they believe he's getting sacked. I believe Big Martin for the Rangers rabble said, according to him, that all his information points to that he will get sacked. Let's find out. But we know what we've got to do today. Yesterday should be a wee spike in the arm. It should be a shot to say, look, plenty of buffering here. You could find yourself 9 points ahead after 5 games, which is got to be a record. It's got to be. It's got to be a record. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I'm laughing. I kind of almost flabbergasted the thought. it's not often I'm lost for words, Paddy, but I mean, it doesn't seem right, does it?
I know. Remember, I've always spoke on here about the wee bet we have offshore, the Marabou, the fancy gold chocolate bar. When Martin got appointed, I had said to one of the guys that I work with, I was like, listen, mate, he'll be sacked by Christmas. And he's like, not a chance, not a chance, not a chance. He gave me my bar of chocolate before I left the rig. He's like, here, there's your chocolate.
Honestly.
I was like, thank you, mate. He's like, he's gone. He says, if he makes it to Christmas, he says, you can buy me one back. He says, but nah, there you go, mate. He's gone. And listen, it's another one we've all seen the picture of Brendan Rodgers etching the names into the tombstone, and he's got all of the other Rangers managers that have left under his tenure. And it's laughable. It's so funny. The picture of wee Graham Murty will be sitting by the phone right now, won't he? Waiting on that call. He's there, Neil Lennon, isn't he? He's their go-to guy. He'll be the one that jumps in.
Well, Paddy, it's strange now. This is for what it's worth. Again, I know we're going off on a tangent. We've got a game of ours to talk about, but just whilst we're on this subject, I was unaware of this. Right now, we spoke about and we saw the excuse for our board about saying why they're not spending money about financial UEFA fair play, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Right, doesn't affect us, but it would affect them. Now, apparently, well, not apparently, it's people with more knowledge than you or I have come out and confirmed. If you sack a manager and you pay them off, you pay them up, you pay their wages, it's treated in the same way as expenditure on buying players or whatever and so on and so forth. It counts towards that, how much you spend cap with the UEFA type things. Now, I imagine he's not on a huge wedge, but he'll be on a decent wedge. He'll be on, what is a 3-year contract or whatever it is, 4-year. It's not going to be small amounts to spend. And then you've got to go and you've got all backroom stuff. It sounds like quite an expensive exercise to go and sack somebody again. Yeah. But you're saying about they keep on going to their Murtys, they're sort of Neil Lennon, they're in emergency break glass. I've seen the reports again. Well, we've seen the mental stuff that is Jose Mourinho and Nuno Espirito Santo and stuff like that. But we've also seen everybody's favourite, which is to revert back to Steven Gerrard. Yeah. I mean, the reality is, Paddy, we've got to take care of our own business and hopefully do today. But how far gone does it need to be, in your opinion? Because we're in that fan consultation group, and I put an opinion into it where the general consensus was that they will be lucky to finish second. And I said, and I'll stand by it right now and see if I'm wrong, I'm happily be clipped on this one. I say, is anybody that doesn't think that they will claw and grab their way and scrape their way back into this, not necessarily it being a title fight. Of course, we've got to do our business to keep it that way. But let's just assume that we do what we do and we keep going on and winning. I genuinely believe that they'll still scrape their way back up to second. I do. Because teams like Hearts, teams like Hibs, teams like Aberdeen, they're brilliant right now. Everything's going for them. But see, when it's squad depth, injuries, suspensions, they fall away. It is the way it is. It just happens and it will happen. But in terms of Rangers becoming a genuine threat, of course, we've got to do our bit. 5 games, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Always remember that. How quickly do they need to react for there to be a genuine change?
Oh, there needs to be a massive reaction.
For them?
There needs to be a massive reaction. In the chat there, Chemical Gases says he's Sykeside loyal, so it's obviously somebody that knows me for Sykeside, and a Rangers fan as well. So keep him in. Listen, thanks for watching. Says there that Gerrard is obviously the guy that the Rangers fans want. He's the one that the name that keeps coming up. Obviously, he's pictured these kids and stuff wearing the Rangers jersey and on his Instagram over the last couple of weeks as well and things like that. But listen, them being in a shit state is good for our board. Of course it is. But I think they will come back. I think they're one of these teams, they've been coming for so long. We've all been laughing and joking about that. But I think that you need to keep a close eye on it because they will finish second. They will be our closest title contenders. And if we draw them in any cup games, they're going to be up for it. It's as simple as that. You just have to look at the game against them over at their stadium, and they weren't brilliant, but neither were we. But they done enough to keep us out, and that's it. That they're going to come in with everything they've got, basically.
And that's what James is saying there. The fact that we could not beat them it shows how bad we've been. But looking towards the game today, Paddy, let's fully get our focus on that right now. Windows closed. Players are there, right? Now, again, another thing, just to circle back, that Brendan said I thought was interesting, the Dies Maeda stuff.
Yes.
As early as February, he says he knew what was going on. Now, I think when you look at that, can you then draw the lines to the misses of Dyson as the season gets on and the start of the season to maybe, make sense of it all? But he expects Dyson Maeda to pick himself back up, praises his professionalism, his character, as he loves character, and expects him to kick on. And we got into the game today. There's going to be a lot of questions. People are asking, for example, do we think Ian Acho's going to start? Who do we think is going to be in? Who do we think is going to be out? Just want to come back on that, Paddy. We know Ralston's in the boot. Can he play? It's got to be Donovan, I think. Good opportunity for a young lad to come in. I've liked what I've seen. Looks quite, comfortable. Looks as if he's got the ability. And again, I know garbage pitch and stuff like that, but game against Kilmarnock, it's not exactly, it shouldn't be a particularly testing day for him. But in terms of elsewhere, then we'll look over. Are you going to play Kieran Tierney on that pitch for the start, or are you going to give an opportunity to somebody like Sarashi in there? And then, of course, I'm thinking Carter Vickers, Kieran Tierney. With you bringing in Donovan, it's going to be scales, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Can we then risk to not have one off or both Tierney and Carter Vickers in for the start?
The thing is, Steve, when we spoke about this before, it's the old horses for courses thing, isn't it? And we know what the pitch is like, albeit the pitch has been redone, hasn't it? It's now a higher brand of shit park. Is that am I right in saying that?
I think it's going to be slightly the shit park that's been done up is Livy. It's a completely new surface. It's meant to be better. Killie have done some remedial work, so it's meant to be slightly better, but it's still garbage.
They threw a bit of grass seed down on the artificial park, basically. Is that what they've done?
they removed some rubber balls from it.
Like I said before, I hadn't played on Falkirk. I went to Falkirk's stadium, and my mate's wee boy was playing for them, and on that park was brilliant. It was an artificial pitch, but it was nice on the feet and stuff. It felt like actual grass. So that one, if it's anything like that, that'd be better for us. But I agree with you on the horses for courses thing. I don't think Tierney will start. I don't think the artificial park will be good for him at the minute because obviously he's not fully up to fitness. I think Carter Vickers should be dropped. I don't think he should start on that either. I'd like to see big...
Would you get Dane Murray in there with Scales?
Dane Murray in there, yeah. I'd have Dane Murray in there with Scales. I'd have Donovan and Sarachi. Now, I know looking at that, that's
it's experimental, to say the least.
It is experimental, but do you know what? It's guys that I would trust to play on that surface. Mm-hmm. And I would be happy to play them on there in the knowledge that they wouldn't get injured. I think if Carter Vickers and Kieran Tierney are on that park, then there's a potential for any injury. And at this point in time, we cannot afford an injury.
Paddy, you think about how you approach this, right? I'm just throwing this out here. We've not been great at scoring goals free flowing recently, right? Okay, I think that's fair to say. Now, this balancing act you've got to do, would you go with having the established guys, having your Tierney, having your Carter Vickers, right? Having them on the pitch, basically having all your best players on the pitch for the off and hoping that you can get maybe two ahead and then you pull out the defenders and you put in these guys that we said that you'd start the experimental there, right? Because that's what it's like. Or do you risk it and then, because what I'm getting at is if you do it in reverse, let's just say we go completely experiment. I personally, from what I've seen at Kilmarnock, we know what they're going to get. It's a shit pitch. They're going to be quite physical. They're going to try and get in behind. Injuries can happen, no matter who it is that's playing. But the point I'm trying to make here, Paddy, is as much as I agree we should be trying to rest these guys and it is risky to play it, it's so early in the season. I think we need to get these guys on the pitch. We need to have the best team on the pitch at the earliest point, try and get ahead, and then you pull guys out rather than try to do it in reverse. Because I think that if you go with the experimental one, as much as I don't think that they've got hundreds in the tank from a attacking standpoint, that it should be that much a concern, just in case you go experimental and you find yourself, a goal, maybe 2 goals down, God forbid,
Aye.
what's the point in them bringing in these guys at the back? It doesn't really do it. Keep solid for the start. Try to kill at the front end, then switch it. That's what I would do.
Yeah, should be. What's the team there? Schmeichel, Donovan, CCV, Scales, Tierney, McGregor, Hattata, Negrin, Barquisha, Maida, Forrest. Yeah, listen, that's a kind of team that you would expect. It's a decent enough side, but I don't. I agree with you, and I disagree with you, Steve. I wouldn't like to risk the injury. Like you said, Tony Ralston's got the big shoe on. He's kicking about there.
Do you think it's
with
simply
everybody.
because we are so thin that we need
Yeah.
to take these calculated risks early on? Is
Yes.
that what you're getting at then?
That's what I'm getting at. I think these guys would come in and do a job. Somebody else, was it Kennedy, had mentioned giving big Simpson Pusey a start as well.
I
Again,
see that
somebody that we
there.
haven't seen.
I
Somebody that
see
we
that
haven't
there.
seen.
And on that, if I mind throwing that out, for those that follow these kind of things, he changed these, I think it was Instagram or something, he changed these wee picture for a picture of him to one of these philosophical wee quotes about, like biding your time and sometimes it doesn't work. Oh, one of these things.
Is another Louis Palmer?
Is this suggesting again on he's no on the European squad, club signing, not Brendan signing?
Yeah. He's going down the Louis Palmer route, innit?
And would you
Like
throw him
show
in?
resilience.
Would you just throw him in then? Would you do it?
Throw him back to Man City if he's starting all that pish on Instagram, mate. I can't be doing with that. Do you know what I mean? Even when Nicholas Kuhn started it, remember coming out and he put something cryptic on his Instagram and then was giving it big licks to the fans and stuff and didn't celebrate his goal and stuff like that. Drop back garbage. Listen, you want to play for Celtic, it's an honour. Do you know what I mean? And it should be an honour for you. So give it to the boys that want to be there. If Pusey is throwing guff like that about on Instagram, then get big Dane Murray in there. Have two great Danes. We'll have Casper and goals and big Dane in there. No
Dane Murray in. I think for me, Dane Murray Scales, I'm comfortable with that. And I think that, of course, you then got a Donovan. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with A3. It's just a case of do you put in Sarashi or do you put in Tierney? Because I do think that we need to play at least one off Tierney or Carter Vickers.
See the team that Big Rab's put there? See that? Casper, Donovan, Murray, Scales. New guy obviously being Sarashi. Kilmarnock, Hattata, Engels, Barquisha, Negrin. And I wouldn't start Kenny. Obviously, Kenny's the only one I really disagree with you there. I would have Dyson through the middle all day and then maybe give Kelechi and Nacho a wee start, a wee run out later on, maybe after the 60th minute. Bring off Benji Negrin and put Hattata. No, Maeda out onto the left and then put Hangman through the middle. Do you know what I mean?
Not Yang, your favourite player. No Yang plays.
The Yang gang's fading, mate. The Yang gang's fading.
Oh, I'm glad you've came round to that. But in terms of how we attack the game, goes without saying, win the game regardless.
Yes.
It'd be nice after all the backdrop. It'd be nice after the result yesterday. It'd be nice after the words in the press conference, the fan expectation. And as I say, the fact that the window's closed, players need to knuckle down, get on with it for here to January at least, to see something that looks like our style of play. The manager spoke about our style of play and how he didn't really see it in the previous games. Hopefully, that's what we're going to get there from it. But again, we speak about that surface. This is an opportunity, Paddy, to just be direct, isn't it? Because you're not going to get slick passing. Now, not that our passing has been dynamic and slick in the tempo and it looks amazing. It's been shoehorned around the back. Let's get real here. Right? That is what it's been. My point is, there's no point in doing it on a surface like that. There's no point in farting about and just retain the ball for the sake of it. 20, 25 passes that go nowhere, right? Yeah. This is a good opportunity to just go out and try and be absolutely direct. The manager's coming out, being direct and punching square in the nose with his comments about what's happened behind the scenes. Go and do that on the pitch. That's what I want to do.
Exactly. Listen, Big Rab said there as well, and he makes a good point. Why would you start Maeda when his head isn't right? I think it's similar to the whole kind of mental health thing here, mate. Now that it's out in the open, if you speak to somebody about what's been happening and what's been going on, this is something that's been in the back of Dyson's mind. What are the fans going to think when all this comes out, that I wanted to leave and blah, blah, and stuff like that. And it's obviously something that's maybe been eating at him. And I think that now that it's all out in the open, I think you'll see a different animal there. I think we might start to see the Dyson evolve. Maybe that's me being optimistic, but I'd like to think that now that everything's been spoken about, that he can relax and do what he does best, and that's put defences under absolute terror.
You mentioned Iheanacho, and obviously there's
Yes.
let's be honest, the fat jokes that are still going to always going to be there. Stevie thinks he'll start. I mean, Iheanacho, the manager again, of course he's going to speak highly of him. He's got to get that buy-in from, and there's no doubt he did get to see some of the best sort of phases of him. Now again, I know I'm just throwing it out there for the balance of chat. When you look at Iheanacho, has it been great? No, it's not been great, right? But it's been a wee bit better than a guy that Rangers paid 8 million for. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, no goals in 24 months. I mean, we're talking scant consolation of the amount of goals that Iheanacho's got. But he's a guy who he's playing for a contract. Well, that's necessarily that option next year at Celtic or not, it remains to be seen. But he's a guy that's a prime age. He's here with a manager that's going to make him feel welcome.
He knows.
Probably because, as you said, in the situation with Kenny, with Shin Yamada, with Maeda, basically the fact that our strikers are a wee kind of bit at 6s and 7s, there's a brilliant opportunity for him to actually go and do something here. Now, do you see him getting, firstly, any level of game time? Not necessarily, starting. Is he going to feature the day at any point for you, Paddy?
I hope so. I want to see him. Obviously, as soon as you bring in a new player, I want to see them. I want to see what they've got. See if he's got that wee bit about him. See if he does look like he's ate all the pies. See if there's a bit of fitness there. It's either fitness or fatness. We're going to find out at some point if he turns up in one of the padded jackets hiding the big belly and that. Do you know what I mean? We've all seen these videos of him when he was at Borough and stuff like that, and running through on goal looked like he was towing a tractor and punted the ball over the top and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Listen, if he's here, like you say, Steve, he's fighting for a contract. He's one of these guys that's come in and he's got an opportunity. Now, if Brendan does stick with him, one of his boys, like a lot of people be saying in the chat there, somebody that he knows well, he done well for Brendan. Every time Vardy was out, he had an actual come in and he done a job. He was decent enough down there, so it's one that I'd like to see.
Do you buy into what I had suggested, that I felt that at least for the first couple of games back for this international break, that at this moment in time, maybe until guys like Dyson, Yang, whoever else may be in that boat, get their head around about settling back into where they are? Because I know they're professionals and the managers will speak highly, and we're sitting here and saying, right, they know what they've got to do and they'll pick themselves up. I think they'll play with a bit of freedom now. It's all out in the open, so on. I still think there will be a level of adjusting. So I reckon that between starting today, maybe next 3 games, Celtic's hopes from that attacking standpoint are getting pinned on the 2 new guys, or the 3 new guys, Iheanacho, Janetke, and of course Balikwisha. Because they're all in the door, they're all fresh, they're there. They have to hit the ground running, they want to kick off. I just think with guys like Yang, who's been messed about, with Maeda, who might still be looking to settle, you're really hoping on these 3 guys to turn it on and do the business. For me, at least, in the first 3 games, whilst the other guys get their head back into the mindset. I don't think that happens overnight. As much as we like the idea that it happens, it just doesn't happen overnight. And it's like, wasn't it away? I had the international breaks, away with Japan, okay, back, first game, fuck. I know, shouldn't we think that?
Yeah.
Fucking Killie on that pitch. Here we go again. I've got to do this for another 6 months, or I've got to do this for another 4 months, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? 3 months, 2 months to the body till I think I might get away. So I think
that all comes down to the passion then for playing for a team like Celtic. You spoke about some of the players there. Nobody's really mentioned Tanecki coming into this squad. We say Balikwisha will probably get a start. Yang's been basically not even mentioned. Benji Neger and things like that. We brought in these players. Now, that shows me a little bit of depth, a little bit of fighting for position, and that's exactly what you need, especially at this time of a season. We're starting to get to the time where we need to be pushing on, when we need to be putting a marker down and saying, listen, you're sitting in 10th, we're now going out there and battering teams and pushing forward here. So listen, it might not be the like for like players that we spoke about bringing in last season and whatever else, but we've got people there, the people that are willing to fight for a position, Steve. So, listen, give the boys a chance. Let's see who goes out there. I'm excited to see the team and have a wee look. I would like to see some of the new boys get in there and see something from them. Balikwisha got a lot of stick after the Glasgow derby because he looked like he didn't really want to take on the Hall of Famer, the Captain Fantastic. You can call him what you want, but he didn't take him on. He didn't do too much against him. Now, that's because we've been used to seeing Daisamida absolutely terrorise him. So, seeing Balikwisha coming on there didn't really light me up with excitement.
Well,
I'd like to see a wee bit from him.
We took a wee bit of criticism for our observations on it, where we felt he looked a wee bit lightweight, he looked a wee bit sort of worried to take on a man.
Yeah.
Didn't look as if he liked the physicality. It could be nerves, it could be the cauldron atmosphere. You will get it. I know it's now all booing at Ibrox, but it was quite noisy that night, right? But today is going to be a real proper introduction to Scottish football. I mean, let's get real. Now, there is some nice football. We're seeing that. There's some good football getting played in this league. Look at that game, Hibs and Dundee United. Great game.
Class.
Right?
Yeah.
Great game. We're seeing what Hearts are doing. See Aberdeen when they decide they want to play football. There is some good football, but it's going to be knuckle down. It's going to be quite physical. The day's going to be compact. It's going to be tight. And see, as a creative player, Tinetke, Balikwisha, these are the kind of games that they need to step up because they will get closed down. There will be guys breathing down their neck. It will be rough. And guess what? See the pitch that you're trying to dribble on or whatever it is it's your go-to as a winger, as a creative player. It's not going to be there for you to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's important for these guys to show something, a bit of heart, a bit of fight, and particularly Springboard does on. First game back, try and put what's behind the scenes very much behind you and kick on. Because as the players have said, the manager says, they can control that aspect of things. As long as they keep winning, that's the most important thing. We as fans will take care of all the stuff off the pitch.
Yeah. Let us do our job, you do your job, but it's exactly the message that we're trying to get across just now, isn't it?
Glass, you know what? I don't normally bite, but
keep him in.
I'm glad you're watching now. I'll remove him because it's just a bit of tat. Right? 1-7, it is right. But this is the best bit about it. Now, I would rather Celtic were beating Rangers, of course I would, right? But what's it for? Show me what it's achieved. Exactly. Because it's achieved nothing because your team's in the shits. So it's fine. And I really hope you can go around all the Celtic podcasts today and try and take some sort of consolation out of bringing up things that make no difference to the situation that's out there. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Listen, it was the whole thing last year as well, wasn't it?
It shows support. Your points are pointless. So see you later, mate. I don't care if you know Paddy. Good for you. So cherry bye. Go and watch one of your other podcasts. If you've not got another regime to overthrow,
I think Steely's on or something.
If you not get another management regime to overthrow, go and take care of that. Chemical gases, because that's what's coming out of your mouth. It's just wind, mate. Farts, mouth farts. Sorry, I digress. I don't normally get dragged in with infiltrators, and we says we are literally a podcast open to all. But I have to bring that up because it's funny. As we always say, it's like telling your mate his car's a Snyder and you don't even have a license. Yeah. Come on,
exactly.
Seriously, absolutely.
Aye, but listen, as we kind of break down the day, Steve, we'd take a 1-0 now, of course we would, but I want a performance. I really want a performance. I want something for this team that gives the fans something to sing about. Because, like you said, we're going to be outside for the first 12 minutes. When we come in, the fan base will receive incredible support. The players on the park will hear us definitely after that 12 minutes. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the team when it comes out, and I think going into this, it's going to be a decent Celtic performance at the end of it.
Absolutely. Hopefully, we get a belter of a performance. We won't really keep you too long. Let you get a bit. We'll get out your hair. Thanks to everybody that's been watching. Nearly 300, which is incredible. Particularly when we didn't put out any sort of warning there. That's amazing numbers. Thank you. Remember to hit that like. Let's see if we can get as many the viewing count to be likes. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe. Costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe to the channel. We'll be back when we talk about it. A couple other things we'll just mention because it's been put in there, and I think it would be wrong not to mention it. Of course, there was a great performance last night by Terence Crawford. That hopefully Celtic can do a similar top quality performance today. And of course, the sad news that a man who I believe had a wee bit of a soft spot for Celtic, which is Ricky Hatton, has been found passed away today, which is obviously some very sad news indeed. So
yeah, that's a sad one. I used to like Ricky's posts on Facebook and stuff like pre-fight, before the fights and stuff. He would just balloon, wouldn't he? He'd just go right up, dead fat, and then you'd see him coming into fight week and it'd be ripped to shreds. Absolutely solid.
Ian Acho style, looking fat, coming in ready on fight day. There we go.
That's it. Hopefully,
that's that.
Yeah, legend of the sport.
Absolutely. Well, thanks to everybody. Enjoy the game. If you're heading the game, enjoy it. If you are going to be there, as we said before, respect everybody if you can. Well, not if you can, just do respect everybody. Common decency costs you nothing. Every fans will have their different ways of doing it. The majority are standing tall. Respect those who choose not to do it. We don't know what their reasons are. Everybody's different. Everybody will go about things in their own way. And I think that's the important thing. It's about a unified message. It'd be great if everybody was doing it off the pitch. But as we said, we've got to respect those. But then as soon as you are in that stadium, let it be known that we're there. Get behind it. Back the team. Sack the board. Hopefully there's no sackings elsewhere today. The only sackings I want is at the Celtic boardroom level.
Peter Lowell.
No sackings in Govan, please. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the game, and we will be back to talk about it. Win, lose or draw. Paddy, hopefully it's a win. Off the backdrop, again, of what's happened yesterday, the wee extra shot in the arm. Have you shifted any on that prediction?
No, listen, my prediction will always be the same. 420 will give me stick because I'm not going for 6-0, but I'm going to stick with my 4. I'm going to go for my 4-0. I don't think Killie will cause as many problems, despite having slight defensive frailties. I think it will be a strong Celtic performance, and I'll go for the 4. I'll go for the 4-0.
Well, yeah. I think that it will be, I'm going to say a win, but I think it's too much to ask to hit top gear. You know what I'm like, Paddy. I always maybe a wee bit too grounded. I'm going to say 2-0. I don't think it'll be classic. I think it'll be enough to get the job done, but I don't think that we're going to start to see the turning of the corner Celtic performance-wise until maybe another 2 games for now. But there we go. I'll take 2-0. I'll take 1-0 and half the keeper's back his arse. I'll take that. I don't care. However they come, important thing is get back up on top of the summit, and then we'll worry about the other games as and when they come. So enjoy the game, everybody. Hopefully it's a win. Until the next time, take care of yourself and Paddy.
Hail, hail.
See you later. Bye-bye.